Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Cat's Eyes. This will be Part 3, Chapter 2, entitled Distance. 2 days passed. Chishia took part in the grand quest of obtaining the Six of Diamonds card. That certainly ensured his position in the beach. Hatter had even invited him to have a drink with him, something that was fairly uncomfortable due to the presence of Hatter's 2 additional female friends, but Chishia continued to play his role well. This world was doing something to him. He was living on an adrenaline high. So that was why, even with 9 days on his visa, Chishia decided to go out and look for a new game. "At least let me go with you," Kuina argued. "No thanks. If I end up playing a hearts game, I'd rather not have you with me." "Then at least take someone else with you." "I'd rather be alone." "Okay, what's this really about?" Kuina said as she blocked the exit to the room she and Chishia were in. "What do you mean?" "You're being weird, weirder than usual, and that's saying something." "Maybe I'm just weird." "Not this weird," Kuina said. "Well, you can either let me go look for a game, or we can play a game of our own. I just came up with it. It's called Kuina Answers All of My Invasive Questions About Her Crush on An. Sounds fun, right?" "I really hate you," Kuina grumbled as she stepped to the side. "Just don't die." "Don't worry, I'm too special for that." Chishia had almost made it out of the building when he was stopped again with a gun pressed to the nape of his neck. "Lovely." "Just where the fuck do you think you're going?" Niragi sneered. "For a walk. Am I not allowed to do that now?" Chishia asked. "Niragi, let him go." Agani sighed. "He's allowed to leave if he wants to." "And if he doesn't come back? He's like a damn stray cat, always coming and going as he pleases." "Are you saying you'd miss me if I disappeared?" Chishia asked. Agani decided to step in before any blood could be shed. "Just stay within range in case we contact you. You have 9 days on your visa after last night. You don't need to join any games." "Yes, I am aware of how this world works. But if you do, any playing cards are property of the beach, yes, I know," Chishia said. "Can I go now? Or do you want to keep chatting?" Niragi shoved him, roughly, and Chishia took that as his permission to leave. "Let me shoot him in the back," Chishia heard Niragi say as he walked away. "Hatter wants him alive." "He's a liability." "He's an asset." "Says who?" "Says Hatter." "I don't listen to Hatter." "And me," Agani said firmly. Niragi swore under his breath, but didn't argue back. Chishia smirked. It sure was nice to be special. Chishia didn't join any games that night. He merely wandered lesser explored parts of the city that weren't well mapped out yet. He wasn't stupid enough to join a new game right off the bat. But if he could find a way to safely observe a game arena, he would be satisfied with that. The game arena he found was in a large botanical garden with glass domes and green lightning. He couldn't see inside or hear much, but that was okay. If no one walked out, that would indicate that the game was 6 or higher. If he could catch a glimpse of the card any survivors walked out with, even better. So he did what he always did. He watched. And he waited. Finally, he heard 3 explosions, probably the deaths of 3 unlucky players. He could hear the congratulations message playing, but no players emerged. Chishia waited for another hour. Still nothing. Deciding to cut his losses, Chishia decided to camp out in an empty apartment for the night before heading back. Sometimes the atmosphere of the beach was stifling enough to feel claustrophobic. He went on one of these little camping trips about every 3 days. He told Kuina it was to keep his sanity intact. He wondered how many people in this world really had any sanity left at all. After a pleasant night spent without the pounding bass, sex noises, and arguments of the beach, Chishia headed back the next morning. He walked past abandoned cars, piles of trash, a body lying outside of the botanical gardens. Hold on. Chishia took several steps backward to take a closer look at the body. Sure enough, the man's chest was rising and falling weakly. So, he was alive. Chishia stepped closer, to lean over the man, waving a hand in front of his glassy eyes. The man blinked and looked up at Chishia for a moment. It was Arisu. He looked like a completely different person. He seemed as if he had been drained of all life. It seemed that Chishia had been right about Arisu's hope not lasting long. Chishia nudged Arisu's arm with his foot. Arisu didn't respond. "Hey," Chishia finally said. "Do you want to live or not?" For a moment, Arisu was silent. Then he began to try to speak. Chishia leaned closer to hear him. I'll die too," Arisu said weakly. "Is that so?" Chishia said. "That's a shame." He straightened up and walked away, with his hands in his pockets. There was nothing he could do for Arisu. He had chosen death. That was all there was to it. As he walked away, Chishia could still feel Arisu's eyes on him. "You're leaving again?" Kuina exclaimed. "You can't keep ditching me like this. Everyone else here is weird." "I thought I was the weird one." "You know what I mean. You found something interesting, didn't you?" "Maybe." "What did you find?" "There was a guy dying on the side of the road yesterday. I want to go see if he's dead yet." Kuina stared at him. "I take it back. You're definitely the weird one." "I think he survived a hearts game. He was just lying there waiting to die. If he's dead, I want to find the playing card. If he's alive, I'll figure something out." "I'll go with you." "No thanks." "Nope, you aren't able to decline this," Kuina said as she looped her arm through Chishia's. "We're going on an adventure together." "Maybe we should invite An." "Shut up," Kuina hissed. "Just shut up." Chishia only smirked in response. It started to rain an hour after they left. The pair ended up taking shelter in a library. Chishia didn't mind this at all, choosing to spend the time reading a book he selected. Kuina was less thrilled about their surroundings. "I'm bored. Are we going to go check on your dead guy or are we going home?" She groaned. "We'll decide when the rain stops." "What's wrong with a little rain?" Chishia looked outside into the downpour. "A little." "What's wrong with the rain in general?" "I don't like the way it feels." "You don't like the way rain feels? You're insane," Kuina yelled. "It feels weird." "You're a cat. It's official." "What is it with everyone comparing me to a cat?" "You just are one, and lucky for you, look what I found." Kuina held up an umbrella. "Now, let's get a move on. I hate waiting around." "We can always talk about An." "Don't you say it," Kuina said, raising her fist. Chishia held his hands up in surrender. He knew that this was a fight he couldn't win. "He was right around here," Chishia said as he scanned their surroundings. "Hey," Kuina said as she pointed at the road ahead. "Is that him?" It certainly was. Arisu was completely soaked, but he hadn't moved a muscle. "That's him." "He looks pretty dead to me." "He looked pretty dead earlier too, but he was still alive." "Are you going to poke him with a stick or something?" "No, I don't have a stick." "Hey, I just saw him blink." "Guess he's alive then." "This is sad," Kuina said. It definitely looks like a hearts game. Yeah. Well, we can come back tomorrow and see if he's dead yet. Chishia, Kuina said. We can't leave him. He's too pitiful. He is pretty pitiful, Chishia said. Fine. Let's get him inside. You can't fool me. I know you came here hoping he was alive, Kuina said smugly. I thought you can't tell when I'm lying. You're good, but you have a tell when you're genuinely interested in something. What? No, I don't. Yes, you do. What is it then? I can't tell you. You'll just get rid of it, Kuina said. I guess we can drag him back to the library. It was warm in there. She handed the umbrella to Chishia, examined Arisu, then picked him up and threw him over her shoulder. Hey, aren't you going to help me? Chishia looked at Kuina, who was already drenched. No, I don't want to get wet. Emptiness. That was all Arisu felt. A deep, horrible emptiness that consumed him from the inside out, leaving him hollow and dead. But he wasn't dead. He wished he was dead. He should be dead. Voices. Gotta go do a game tonight or my visa runs out. You do that. I'll stay here. You sound like you're getting dangerously close to liking a person. Maybe. Oh, you can tell An I'm not dead. It would give you an excuse to talk to her. Shut up! Hey, I'm trying to be helpful. Arisu fell back into unconsciousness. The next time he opened his eyes, it was quiet. There were no voices. The only sound was the turning of a page. Arisu realized he was laying on his back on top of a rug. He slowly looked up towards the source of the noise. He met Chishia's eyes, who waved at him before going back to his book. Arisu let his head fall back down and closed his eyes. Something smacked him on the chest, and then the face. A handful of random junk food and a water bottle. By the time he looked back at Chishia, he was back to his book again. Why did you save me? Arisu finally asked. You didn't die out there on the streets, so clearly something in you wants to keep living. Something in me wants to keep living. Arisu let out a sound somewhere between a sigh and a laugh. But there's no point in me living. Everyone died, because I was the only one that survived. Everyone died because I survived. I was the one who killed them. Arisu's words gave way into bitter sobs. I killed them. Someone like me, it's unforgivable for someone like me to be alive. Chishia watched him, as if Arisu were an interesting animal at the zoo. I'll die. I'll die. I'll die. I'll die and go to them. He began to beat his head against the floor. I have to kneel and apologize to them. I have to apologize to them right now. Chishia looked at his book, then at Arisu, then back to his book before putting it down to the side. Even so, Arisu said weakly. Why? There have been times where I wanted to die too, Chishia said. I guess that makes us the same. I didn't lie down on the floor and cry like you did, but I had the same feelings. I'm going to die anyway. I might die during my next game, or I might die when my visa expires. He looked down at Arisu. I spent 15 minutes scrounging around for food for you at a store down the street. I'd appreciate it if you ate it before you died. Slowly, Arisu sat up. The food was a minimal gesture, but he felt the weight of it, nonetheless. He looked around. Where am I? Some kind of library or bookstore, Chishia said. so you don't have to worry about getting bored while you wait to die." Coming from anyone else, the statement would have sounded mocking or offensive, but from Chishia, it was just a statement, not a joke made at Arisu's expense or anything of the sort, just an observation. He began to eat slowly at first, but quickly sped up once his body realized how hungry it was. Damn, maybe I should have grabbed more food. "No, this is fine," Arisu said. "Thank you." Chishia shrugged. "Well, if you need anything, you obviously know where I am." They didn't talk for the rest of the night. Arisu wasn't sure what to say, and Chishia didn't offer any conversation. Arisu merely watched as he made his way through 3 books. It reminded him of his brother. His brother was able to read that quickly. Exhaustion weighed Arisu back down eventually, and he fell asleep to the soft, dry, rustling noise of more pages being turned. The next time Arisu opened his eyes, the sun was up. He had also awoken before Chishia. Chishia was asleep where he had been the last time Arisu laid eyes on him, sitting on a windowsill with his back to one side and his knees pulled partially up to his chest. He seemed different when he was asleep. Smaller, maybe, or safer, or maybe just more vulnerable. Arisu decided that it was his eyes. Chishia's eyes were what gave him a certain mysterious, somewhat dangerous look, like some kind of unknown, impressive animal or creature. Arisu still felt too empty to do anything other than lay there and watch Chishia sleep. He quickly closed his eyes when he heard Chishia stirring. He felt Chishia's eyes on him and tried to remain still. He wasn't ready to move or talk yet. He had a feeling that Chishia knew he wasn't asleep, but Chishia didn't do or say anything about it. He only got up and left the library. Arisu stayed where he was, empty and hurting. He almost cried with relief when Chishia returned, desperate to not be alone again. Part of that relief faded when Chishia threw more food at him, but that was quickly replaced with gratitude. Even though Arisu had given up, a stranger was willing to try and care for him. "Well, at least you're eating," Chishia said as Arisu tore into the new food. "It'll help you get ready." "Huh?" "For the game tonight." He didn't get a response. "Or are you just planning to die by letting your visa run out?" Still no answer. Chishia sighed. "Fine. At least answer a question before you die. Why did you call out to everyone during the tag game? You tried to save everyone, even at the cost of your life." "That's because I didn't want to die." Finally, an answer. "I didn't want everyone to die." "I guess we have another thing in common then. I don't want you to die either," Chishia said. "If you hadn't pushed me out of the way, I would have died. I don't like being in people's debt. Let me return the favor." Finally, Arisu began to get to his feet. His body ached from being still for so long, but he didn't let that stop him. Chishia was pulling on his jacket by the time Arisu had stood up. "I'll take that as a yes," Chishia said. He tore out one of the blank ending pages from the book he was reading and scribbled down a message. "Went to find a game. We'll meet back at the beach after. Still not dead." He signed the message with a small drawing of a cat. It seemed appropriate. All right, listeners, this concludes the first half to Chapter 2 of Cat's Eyes. The second half to this chapter will be up next, which will pick things up with Chishia and Arisu taking on a new game. right? Which is the one entitled Distance, which is what this chapter is actually titled after, is the game that one's going to be. So if you're familiar with the actual show or the anime or manga series, you might know what that game is. And so you might know kind of what to expect there. But that's what's coming up on the horizon. I'd love to hear the thoughts and reactions that everyone's having so far to this fic, as you're seeing Chishia kind of stepping in, Kuina being there as well, and Arisu going through this challenge emotionally after this loss that he's just experienced. So drop your comments below for me. Let me know what you're thinking. And as always, thank you all so much for listening.